everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Ask Bill Keegan Show. I'm your host, Bill Keegan, Town Manager here in Foxboro. Today I want to talk to you about a new program that the town has developed during the past year. It's been in response to the fluctuating electricity rates and power rates that are varying from different companies that are being offered now to people on basic service rates with your service provider, which is National Grid. The town's response was to develop a trustworthy program that residents could count on, so that they know from month to month what kind of rates that they could count on for planning their budgets accordingly. Today I have with us a guest from the Paragon Energy Group, Marlana Patton, who is the Vice President of Community Programs and Communications. And Marlana will tell us a little bit about what the new program that the town has developed called Foxborough Power Forward. Welcome, Marlana.
Thank you.
So, Marlana, tell us a little bit about the Foxborough Power Forward program and how it started and how it was developed.
Oh, sure. So the Foxborough Power Forward program is what's called a municipal electricity aggregation. The program was developed in collaboration with the town of Foxborough, and it's a highly regulated type of program. So it included the development of a plan that went through a public review process and then a state regulatory approval process. The program itself addresses the electricity supply charges on your electric bill. So National Grid typically supplies and delivers electricity to most residents and businesses in Foxborough. Foxborough Power Forward program will involve the supply part of that, and within the program, participants will use an electricity supplier that the town has chosen for them instead of having National Grid be their electricity supplier. So we'll impact just the supply charges on your bill and hopefully provide a little savings.
So this is an electricity program. How will this impact the electricity bill for each resident?
Yeah, so on the bill, there are two categories of charges. There are delivery charges and supply charges. And as I mentioned before, the program impacts just the supply charges on your bill. So right now, if you have National Grid Basic Service, which is what you have when National Grid chooses your electricity supplier, you're paying 9.787 cents a kilowatt hour for residential customers. In the program, you're going to see that price change, and it's actually going to go down, and I have the price here, and it's going to go down to 9.203 cents a kilowatt hour, and that is a little over half a cent per kilowatt hour, and if you add that up over all the electricity you use in a month, it can create some real savings. An important note that I will add, though, is that the savings aren't guaranteed. Right now, we know the National Grid price for a period of time, but they change every 6 months. So we don't know what the future price is going to be. So we can't guarantee the savings, but right now, when you get your bill after you're enrolled in the program, you should see your price drop.
But we do know that the price that the program that we offer is locked in for a period of time.
That's correct. It's a 19-month price, and that's one of the great benefits of the program is that the price is fixed for 19 months. So unlike National Grid's basic service, the price does not change periodically. This also makes it different from a lot of the other offers on the market that might offer a low introductory rate and then a variable rate after an introductory period of time. This program price is something you can count on for 19 months.
So how does participation work, and who can participate in the program, and how do they enroll?
So any electricity customer within the geographic boundaries of Foxborough is eligible to participate. Anyone who is on National Grid Basic Service will be automatically enrolled. And if you are on National Grid Basic Service, you should have received a letter in the mail that would let you know this. If you have an electricity supply contract already with another electricity supplier, you will not be automatically enrolled, so you wouldn't have received a letter, but you are welcome to join. You would just need to call the electricity supplier, which is a company called Public Power, and ask to join. But if you are on basic service with National Grid, which most folks in Foxborough are, you don't have to do anything at all to participate. It's going to be an automatic, seamless process.
So just to clarify that, we talked about this earlier, that if you only would have received a letter if you're on basic service.
That's correct. That's correct. So the letter is, if you're out there and you have a letter in your hand, it's because you have National Grid Basic Service. If you didn't get a letter, It is most likely because you have an electricity supply contract already. So you wouldn't be automatically enrolled. We don't want to break anyone's contract. You've already made a decision and that is honored. But if you would like to enroll and you didn't get a letter, you just need to call Public Power and ask to participate.
Right, and we can get you signed up online if necessary.
Yes.
It's that easy. So how does participation work? What is the automatic enrollment model? Why is it automatic enrollment?
This is a really good question. It's a common one. So it's actually state law that any community that launches an electricity aggregation must use an automatic enrollment model. And there's a benefit to the community for this. If the electricity supplier has to wait for everyone to call them and ask to participate, they don't know how many people will participate, and they're likely to get a lower participation number. And that means there's a risk of not getting as much business, and with risk comes higher price. But with the automatic enrollment model, they have some kind of ability to predict how much business they're going to get and a much larger enrollment population, and that yields a lower price.
So the letter that folks we were talking about, the letter is this letter right here, which states, and it says right at the very town of Foxborough Electricity Program Notification Letter. And I hope folks didn't just toss this away as being junk mail, because this is actually an important letter, because this is the letter that actually allows you the opportunity to opt in or opt out. You basically will be left in the program if you do nothing, but if you want to opt out of the program, you don't have to join this. And we think it's really important for people to understand that this is not a scam program. It's not something that was developed without a lot of thought that went into it. I think it's also important to note too that nobody will show up at your door to try and enroll you in the program. It will be one we're only notifying you through the mail. So anybody who tries to call you over the phone or show up at your door to try and enroll you in this program, again, it's the Foxborough Power Forward program. That it's really not the program that the town has sponsored. So you only would have received notification through the mail, and only if you were on basic service through National Grid right now. So one of the common questions that we get from folks, and we had this meeting with the seniors the other day at the Council on Aging, was am I going to get a different bill now? Is the bill going to look different now because I have a different power company? And the answer to that is essentially no. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So when you participate in the Foxborough Power Forward program, you will not get a second bill. You are still a National Grid customer. National Grid is still your delivery company. They still maintain the poles and wires. They still bill you. You still pay them. That is all still the same. The only changes you're going to see are two changes on that bill. And it's under the portion of the bill related to supply services. You're going to see, instead of National Grid Basic Service, you're going to see Public Power listed as your electricity supplier, which is the one that the town chose. And then instead of the basic service price of $9.787, if you're a residential customer, you'll see the program price of $9.203.
Great. So what will people see that's a difference? It's really a seamless difference in that respect.
Yeah, that's it. It's just those two. It's a seamless process for participating. It's automatic enrollment if you're on basic service. You just see these two changes in your bill. The program launches on March 1st. So what would happen is you would be enrolled with your meter read date after your first meter read date after March 1st. You would see these changes on your bill with your April bill, because remember, electricity bills look backwards. So your March electricity bill will actually be for the period of time before you were in the program. But then you're enrolled in March, and then on your April bill, you'll see these two changes, and then that's it. There's no change in your quality of service, there's no change in the type of service, and you don't get a second bill.
The National Grid service doesn't change in the sense that they'll still, if something happens to your service, if your electricity goes out, if a pole breaks, or if a branch falls on a line, you still call National Grid. Is that correct? You
do. National Grid remains Foxborough's electricity delivery company, remained your electricity delivery company, and they are responsible for the poles and wires. They're still the people you call when the power goes out. That does not change.
Great. So what happens at the end of the 19-month period? This program is for 19 months, guaranteed that rate will stay the same during that period of time. But at the end of 19 months, what happens at that point?
So at the end of 19 months, Foxborough can make a choice. If the program's going well, Foxborough can decide to go out to bid for another electricity supply contract and get a good price for everybody and sign another contract. And if the town decides to do that, everyone who participates now would be automatically rolled into that new contract. Again, it would be seamless. If the town thinks the program's not going well, the town can always stop the program, and then if that happens, everybody would be automatically returned to National Grid basic service, and again, it would be seamless.
So somebody once said to me last week, they said, well, isn't this sort of like Big Brother getting involved here in people's electricity? And why is the town want to be involved in the electricity business? And the reason why is because the state legislature actually made it easier a couple of years ago by changing the law to allow cities and towns to become involved in this process. And this is happening all across the state right now. In fact, there are programs, and it's not just through Paragon or it's through other programs as well, but a lot of cities and towns are getting together to do this and to get involved in this program because it actually does save money. It's designed to save money for the residents. So I know people get skeptical sometimes when we say that, and but this is one that really does serve as a benefit. Can you talk to us about that?
The program, I think Foxborough is in the company of probably about 100 communities at this point that are pursuing aggregation. Mm-hmm. So you're right, this is something that the state regulators made easier to do, and communities are seeing real benefits from it. One is the opportunity to save money, the potential to save a few dollars every month, which is a great thing. Another is this price stability that we've talked about before, where folks don't have to wonder if the supply part of their bill, that price is going to fluctuate seasonally. And another great benefit to this that the town has really worked in is consumer protections. The town worked hard to make sure that this program has consumer protections in it, and a big one is the ability to opt out at any time. People do not have to participate in this if they don't want to. They have the ability to get out of the program before it even launches. If you want to do that, you need to opt out by February 20th, but you can continue to opt out at any time after it launches, and that really makes the program different from a lot of the other offers on the market too that have early termination fees. This program doesn't have that. So there are real benefits to a town putting a program like this together and offering the community something that is well vetted, transparent, and that they can trust.
So what if someone has budget billing or is eligible for a low income discount rate? Will that change?
So any benefits like budget billing and low income discount do not change. With this program, those remain in place. A lot of people are especially concerned about the low income discount, and that is a discount that is applied to your bill by the utility, by National Grid. Remember, they still create your bill. So regardless of whether you participate in this program or not, National Grid makes your bill, and then they apply this discount to your bill after they put it together. So participating in this program won't change your low income discount, and it also doesn't change budget billing if you're in that program.
And another question that comes up often is now we have solar panels on people's roofs, and so they're trying to get the net metering credits for that. And so does this change that program at all?
No, and actually it could work out really well. So net metering, for starters, it does not change. Net metering is, your net metering credits remain calculated at the National Grid basic service rate. Now remember, when the program launches, the program rate's going to be lower than the National Grid basic service rate. So what this means is for the electricity that you get credits for, you get those calculated at the higher basic service rate. And for the electricity you buy, you pay for it at the lower program rate. So for those that are net metering customers, this could actually work out a little bit for you. But the main message is that net metering does not change with this program.
That's great. So, so what if you want to just opt out of the program for whatever reason? You're not comfortable, going with a program that we're saying that is available to you now, and it's an automatic enrollment process. So, but I'm still not comfortable. So I want to opt out. So what's the process for that?
Yeah, so there are a couple different ways, well, 3 different ways to opt out before the program launches. So for those who don't want to participate in the program at all and they want to get out before it launches, you need to opt out by February 20th, and you can do that one of 3 ways. You can do that using the reply card that came with the mailing. You just sign it and return it. You can opt out by calling Public Power directly, and the phone number's on the mailing, or you can opt out online on the program website, which is www.masspowerchoice.com/Foxboro. There's an opt-out.
And we have that on
there.
our town website as well.
Yes.
So in case
Yep.
anybody who didn't get the mailing wants to opt out at that point, they can do that through, go right to our town website,
Yep.
and they can actually refer to all the information's on that site.
Correct. And then after the program launches, say you want to participate for 3 months, give it a try, and then you decide later, this isn't for me, or maybe you see the basic service price change and you'd rather go be on National Grid. You totally have the ability to do that. There's no fee, there's no penalty, and you can do that 2 ways, either by calling Public Power directly or by going to the website and opting out online.
So let me ask you that follow-up question is, if I want to get out for a little while and then come back in, how does that work?
So you can leave and come back in, but there's a caveat, which is if you come back in, you are not guaranteed the program rate. The supplier could charge you a market rate instead. And the reason they have that provision in the contract is if they had to bear the risk of people switching in and out of the program every time the basic service price changed, then that risk would be reflected in the price. But by having this provision in the contract that says if you opt out and then opt back in, you're not guaranteed a program price, it reduces the amount of that back and forth switching that happens, and also, again, when you take risk out of a contract, it allows them to offer lower price.
So, and that's understandable, because obviously when you lock in a number, you want to make sure that there are so many people participating at that level, and you can't have people jumping in and out of the program. It doesn't make sense to do that. I can tell you that personally, that I've watched the market from time to time, and every 6 months or so I'll take a look and see whether or not it makes sense for me to go with a different company. But this sort of takes that guesswork out of it by joining the program and staying with the program, because it's a pretty good rate. It's a competitive rate right now. Who knows if it could change or go, but it could go significantly higher too, and you're locked in, you're protected as a customer at the lower rate, which is really what we want to do for our residents. So again, just to tell people where more information can be found is to go to www.masspowerchoice.com/Foxboro. That's one area. You can also send an email to foxboro@masspowerchoice.com. And then you also have the option of calling directly, which is 1-844-241-8596, and we'll provide you those numbers on screen. And also, just the simplest way is to just go to the town's website, and we have the information located right on our screen, so it's easy for our residents to determine any additional information that they need for the program. You can also call our office at Town Hall, at the Town Manager's office. Please call the Town Manager's office directly, since we do have information, and we can also direct you to the right people to get the questions answered. This is a good program. It's designed to protect our residents. It's designed to provide a bit of a break, in terms of the cost, and also to provide some rate stability, which I think is really the nicest piece of this entire program. And Paragon, talk a little bit about your company. Paragon's been around for a while. And Paragon's also served as the town's consultant for many, many years, advising us on how we should use power for our various town buildings. And that's part of the reason why we chose you to do this program, because we had confidence in your company and the work that you've done for us. So tell us a little about Paragon.
Sure. So Paragon and our partner, Bay State Consulting, have worked together for a long time on aggregations specifically. And yes, you're right. Paragon and Bay State have supported the town for many years in municipal electricity procurement. So that's already a history that we have of working with cities and towns all over the state and helping them to get the best price for their municipal electricity accounts. And then also we specialize in working with cities and towns to make their buildings more energy efficient, to bring in renewables if they want to. So we have a long history of specializing in municipal energy work and electricity work.
And that gave us a lot of confidence in why we ended up selecting it. Also, another interesting aspect was that your colleague actually helped write the legislation for this piece. So he really was very familiar with with how this program worked. He was probably the expert in the state in terms of how this program worked.
It's true. He did write the original legislation, and he used to be an energy commissioner in the state. So
Awesome.
if anybody knows this from the inside, he does.
That's great to know that. So anything else we want to talk about? Or anything else we want to add to let our residents know how this program works?
I think the only other thing is for those that might value the environmental component of their electricity, there is an option. There's a green option that's 100% green option, and that price is a little bit higher because renewable energy costs a little bit more.
Right.
But you can learn more about that on the website too, and that's something you would just need to choose affirmatively. But otherwise, I think this is a great program. The door is always open if you don't want to participate, so it's really very low risk. And I think we're excited about being able to offer some value to Foxborough.
Okay, well, we appreciate you being here. So that wraps up our show for this session of the Ask Bill Keegan Show. Certainly, we'll be back again with more information to help the residents understand some of the various programs that are going on right now throughout the entire community. One of the most recent changes that we've come about as well is also with regional dispatch. And I think what we want to do is a show perhaps next month, which we'll talk a little bit about how that program is going to work, and also give you an update on where the town hall project is going. So far, that program is still right on schedule, and we're very excited about the progress that's being made on that project, so we're very pleased to see that. Also, we'll be able to report next time how our friends up at Foxborough at Gillette Stadium and the Patriots have done. We're going to wish them well this weekend in their quest for their 5th Super Bowl trophy, and so we want to wish them well and give them a good send-off as they leave for Houston this week. So for all of us here at Ask Bill Keegan Show, I want to thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.